Okay, again, good evening, everybody. Thank you for who was here, all the other guests who have no idea about me today, but still very welcome. And of course on YouTube, on Facebook, live here. So yeah, it's been a long journey to live on my books, basically, because it's my story, it's a father's story. 2 books, and it's been a long journey, not always very easy, of course, and we started a long time ago. The title, The Pilot Story, very generic, has been chosen on purpose because although it's my story, of course, it's my story across 7 airlines, 3 continents, a lot of countries, but in reality it's the story of a lot of pilots who 2008 lost the job in Alitalia, in our company here, and then have to go around the world, find other jobs, find other life. And of course, not only pilots from Alitalia, not only pilots, it's actually the story of a lot of people around the world. Every day, unfortunately, things happen, and you need to restart your life, start to create a new way of going on. And of course, a pilot's life is fascinating sometimes also because of that, because most of the time we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, where we're going to sleep tomorrow, who knows. But lots of change, never happen, of course, lots of change. Well, and then you know where you're going tomorrow, but the point is you don't know where you're going to be next year, because it's more and more difficult in our job to start the career in one airline and finish it in the same airline. It's more often that you're gonna change your line, change again. But it's fascinating because somehow you can have a lot of experience, see a lot of people, see a lot of places. And these books, actually the developing of this book has been actually a teamwork as a crew, as we work as a crew, because a lot of people helped me in creating this book since the beginning. The very one book didn't start as a book actually. It was just a few notes I was writing when I have to leave Italy, moved to Qatar, and I was there a little bit depressed, of course, because my life changed completely in a few months. Because 2008 was a very weird year for me, because in May I ended a 10 years story with my ex, and then when you story ends, you don't just leave a person, you leave an entire batch of friends, family, a lot of people. But it was time to end that relationship. Okay, and then in December I lost my job that supposed to last forever. Instead, the one day I received an email say, "From tomorrow, bye-bye." That's it. And a few months later, I moved to Qatar, a country where honestly in 2008 not many people knows existed. I actually had no idea I actually existed this country. When a friend of mine told me, apply to these companies in the Middle East, I thought it meant Emirates. And I said, no, I already applied to Emirates. No, it's not Emirates, it's another company, it's nearby. Nearby where? It's nearby, don't worry. Send the CV, somebody's gonna hopefully go. Oh, and that's what happened. You know? And, but the thing is, in a big crisis, the thing is, you discover a lot of yourself, So that's why I think that this long journey that I have done in my life, that I tell you in these books, it's really a journey, more than a journey geographically, around the world. It's more a journey inside yourself. To discover yourself, to discover a lot of energy, a lot of capability, a lot of things that you don't even know you have. And this is something I share with a lot of other my colleagues, pilots, of course, who I met around the world. And we share the same feelings about that. Everybody was telling me, I have no idea I was capable of doing that. Moving in other country, around the world. Actually, I'm happy, and maybe I'm going to live again and again, And this is fascinating because sometimes we don't know who we are until we actually have to face some challenge. And in aviation, fortunately or unfortunately, this challenge arrives sooner or later. And that's interesting because at some point you discover you can do stuff, and it's good. That's why Anyway, I wanted to write the stories at some point to share all these experiences, all these feelings, all these emotions, above all, for everybody who are listening to understand what can go on, not only in aviation, in a pilot, but in everybody, human being life. And of course, there's a lot of things, of course, I need to do around these books. First of all, Maya, who has been with me for the most difficult part of my journey around the world, of course, and lots of friends who helped me in editing the books, giving suggestions from time to time, and my publisher, of course, Diego Meozzi, Carta Bianca Publishing. He did an incredible job in editing the English version of these books. That's why this evening I'm talking in English, not because I want to show off how much English I talk, okay, a little bit, no. But because today is the presentation of the English versions of the Italian books that has been published a few years ago. Of course, they are both available, English and Italian, for whoever want to read the story. And so, see, the story started a long time ago, as I told you, in 2008, when I was a happy MD-80 pilot of Alitalia, thinking of being there forever. And you know, in Italy, but maybe not only, we know there is a lot of bad politics, not say more than that, but let's see, the politics, the union, who sometimes weird behavior, let's say, not to get into technicality. Until these kind of things don't touch you, you just read the newspaper, but suddenly you understand that when bad things happen, you are there. And when you lose a job like that, to me, it's not just, I lost the job, I don't have a salary, it's something that hits you materially, because how can I go on? It's really a crisis of ideals. Because everything you have believed in all your life, hard work, since I was a little boy, if you work hard, you're gonna succeed, only if you work hard, And I work hard, of course, it's not only, of course, everybody work hard, but I work hard to become a pilot because that was my dream. And I did it, and suddenly one day you realize that it doesn't matter. You can be as good as you want it, you can be, you can work so hard as you want it, but one day somebody might decide that you don't need to work anymore, and they trash you, like garbage. And at the same time, you discover that if you had the right father, because the father worked, in the government, or maybe you have the right father because he worked somehow in the aviation industry, you don't lose the job, So it's when these kind of things happen that you understand the reality of life in this world, and there's nothing to do. That's how it is, And ironically, you also realize that the only things you can do now to start again is to work even harder, to keep studying again because you need to go to find another job, And for a pilot, yes, not only, but for us, find another job means you need to go for interview. Interviews are hard, you need to prepare for weeks, months, studying again, prepare for tests, prepare for interview. It's very difficult. So I spend weeks to be ready again to find other works. Because at that time, when you are a pilot in Alitalia, you don't even know what's around. You think that's my job, Even the English, I improved my English because then I worked abroad, because with Maya we speak English basically. But at that time, when I did the interview in Qatar, I wasn't worried so much about my knowledge in aviation, my experience in the simulator. My worry was in English, first of all, because how can I do an interview in English? I did it, I passed. And I started, actually I moved to this country who I had no idea even existed. I really need to go to the map on Google at that time, before taking the flight to go to the interview. Where the hell is this country, Such a small country. Now everybody knows because of the World Cup, At that time, honestly, it's not bad. Anyway, I moved, now you find yourself in the middle of the desert, 50 degrees, and everybody dressed in white, speak weirdly, And that's, for me, was the first time really to adapt to a new culture. And it's not easy, of course, because, for example, in Italy, above in Rome, it's very rude to do this, It means they have you on. And one day I was driving my car in Qatar, I wanted to park the car in front of the mall. There was a policeman, he did it to me, no? And I was like, I need to park the car. He was like, yeah, I need to park the car. I get the hell down. This in Qatar means wait. Yes. Just wait, and we're gonna find the stand. You know what I mean? And I almost find this guy almost got into jail one day, and maybe it wasn't a good idea. No? So, and then of course, I discovered probably many other places that multicultural environments are very interesting because you really need to understand what it means anything that you do. You know, like for example, we moved in Italy, afterwards Italian Romans, we move our hands a lot. You know. And in some country, people think you're fighting, you know, and even in Maya sometimes, people think you're fighting and they're not, But, so I'm trying to push myself not to do it. But anyway, when I was there, what amazed me a lot when I was there at the beginning is this idea of working with people from really, really all over the world, because as long as I was in Alitalia, everybody's Italian. You speak in Italian, okay, as much as you can be interesting, but okay, Italian. And say, one day I was flying with the captain from Yemen, another day you're coming through from China, another day another captain from South America. I mean, it's fascinating, Plus, I like to talk a lot, as you can see, so I'm always asking questions, trying to understand, speak, how to discover things, And it's very, very interesting. Of course, it's difficult because I told you, to understand each other. Although in a job like a job where in the cockpit we are just close to each other, sometimes we come through. You can't just make a joke that nobody understands, it might think you are weird, Also the famous SOP, the standard operating procedure in Alitalia, basically we just couldn't do it, we just go, And everybody know what to do, And I had to learn how to do the things in a certain way, and even though in one airline I worked for, one day I say flap one, and the guy was looking at me like, what? I say, I asked the flap one, and that is not flap one, it's flaps one. Because if you say flap one, your colleague might not understand. I said, really? Okay, maybe I'm in the wrong company, okay? I don't tell you which one it is, but anyway, just to tell you. I need to understand things. In my life, I never thought I need to be careful about the letters, but in some places you need to be careful about it. And anyway, of course, I stayed in Qatar for a few years. Of course, I arrived there without really willing. It was beyond my choice at the time. And I enjoyed the experience overall, because I've been in places I never even dreamed of going, all the little airports in India, I met incredible people, But of course, I never lied, I wanted to go. Of course, my idea is to go back to Europe at some point. And then, of course, I did what I never believed that it's going to happen to me in Doha. I got married in the embassy. And then we left together. And we went to London. In an airline, well known in Europe. Of course, I don't mention names of airlines. There is a reason why. I tell you immediately, apart from Alitalia and Qatar, but in the second books, although there's a lot of airlines I work for, because I don't want you to think that these books are books about that specific airline, that specific other line. It's a book about pilot story. So whatever happened to me in certain airline, most probably happened to other people in other lines. Okay? So that's why I don't mention airlines. Anyway, the thing is, we moved to London. The idea was to have a normal life. Because at that time, I still believe normal was a word that we can use. I just don't use it anymore, of course, because it's impossible. But the idea is we go to London and we stay there. Sometimes that hopefully we can move to Fiumicino, and be here forever and ever again. Unfortunately, my ship pilot had a different plan for me and everybody. Because another thing that I faced for the first time in my life was the bad management. I know you won't believe it. It exists. I know. Yeah. No, it exists. Yeah, I know it's a revelation today, but it exists. And there are these people, of course, not only in aviation, but I'm in aviation, so I met this guy in aviation. These managers who the only idea they have is their own bonus at the end of the year. They don't care about anything. Human beings like us, like you, but they don't care about anything. So they might trash your dream, they might trash your ambition, they don't care. At that time, of course, was a shock for me because I really thought that we could have an amazing life. Because then from London we moved to Lisbon, incredible place, beautiful, people amazing, it was like a dream life. But as I told you, things happen, of course. I don't even want to tell you too much, not to spoil the surprise of reading the book, because otherwise, then you don't write anymore, you don't read anymore, with a lot of stuff. Anyway, we decided to move again, and that was the move. We decided to go to Asia. Okay, that's enough about Europe. Let's go to Taiwan. See, there you go, Taiwan. Yeah, of course. Now, this is the decision in life. If you now, I think back, I was in Cascais, beautiful town in Portugal. You go to Taiwan, I was crazy, of course, because how can you even take this decision? But this decision, you take decision in that moment with the information you have, with the feeling you have, And it's inevitable that as much as we should not take decision with, with emotion, with feeling, we should really think about it. Now it has to be planned, but it's inevitable that we have our own soul, we have our own spirit, emotion, and it's okay. Plus, sometimes it's also difficult, because I tried many times, anytime I need in aviation to get the right information. When you want to go to another airlines, you ask 100 pilots, how is it this airline the job? You have 100 different shades of information, from the one who want to get married to the CEO, the one who want to kill the first passengers come on board, Somebody is super happy, somebody is super unhappy, It's because it's personal, it's inevitable, Because what's good for me, maybe it's not good for you, and it's always a matter of balance, between pro and cons that we need to take into consideration, of course. And what I suggest, in fact, as much as sounds childish, but when people ask, how can I make a decision to go to take a piece of paper and write 2 columns, pro and cons, write it down, and read, okay, I go there for this reason, I don't want to go for this reason, and then you try to understand what works for you. And of course, at that time, for us, it worked to go to Taiwan, and we met another country that we didn't even know much, because I've never been there before. We spent 2 days just doing an interview, and the people are fascinated. It's incredible. Everybody's happy there. Everybody, I've never seen a person happy. We had an incredible experience with people, Like the first time we went in a restaurant like this, in a pub, we ordered some dessert, And we got this incredible kind of cake, so beautiful, And there was no spoon. So I asked, can I have a spoon? And then it said, yes, first take a picture, and then I'm going to take you. Because it's normal, you have to, now it's normal, I guess, We're talking about, 10 years ago, So I need to take a picture. Why? I need to read it. No, you take a picture. But people, it's super nice day. One day Maya lost the document, and we have to go to the police. So, with all due respect to the police in Italy here, but, oh my God, you need to go to the police, what the hell, now, We went to this office, and immediately, they put us on the sofa, they brought us some tea, I was like, what, really? If there are also some pastry and something to eat, I'm gonna go back next week. Oh my God! Wherever you go, red car, everybody said, you walk, you stop for a moment. May I help you? Help you. I just want to breathe a little bit. But again, also professionally, again, I don't want to tell you too much because otherwise I can spoil you a lot of the story. But also professionally, I lived one of the most incredible experiences of my life, also professionally. And but again, for a small mistake that some manager did on my assignment there, at some point we couldn't stay anymore. I had to leave. And I went to speak with manager, and my shift was super nice, of course, you understand, but there was nothing to do, it wasn't working for me to stay there. And again, you need to go again, move again, and where? You will try to go back to Europe, I wanted to go back to Europe at some point, but again, find a job in Hong Kong, technically is a bit closer to Europe, not much, but But again, you need to adapt again to the culture, new people. In Hong Kong is not that easy because lots of islands, millions of people. When you walk, you have to bounce like a video game. And opposite to Taiwan, everybody's so happy, everybody's so friendly. In Hong Kong, it's like there are a million people, but nobody cares. We were living in this building for 5 years, 27th floor. It's very low, by the way, in Hong Kong. Can you meet your neighbor in the elevator and they don't even say anything? If you say good morning, they reply, good morning. But, everybody stay by his own, And they really care about money so much. Imagine that I stayed there 5 years, the same apartment on rent. I made a calculation at the end of the 5 years, I spent something like $100,000 for rent. And because I left the apartment one day after the end of the monthly rent, the owner asked me for 1 day of rent when I left. Can you believe? When he gave me back the deposit, he said, no, I retracted $50 because it's 1 day of rent. What? 1 day of rent, right? Really? But that's how different culture, different. You need to understand. You don't need to be disappointed. You need to understand. That's how it is, and it's okay. And of course, at some point, we have spent 7 years in Asia, 2 in Taipei, 5 in Hong Kong. Where we have, as I told you, incredible experience with people, with places. I met, as a pilot, incredible good management. You won't believe it exists as well. I know it exists. And I have the luck to meet these people in some of the line I work for. And of course, I also met the worst manager ever in some places there as well, in some of these places. And that's the thing that it's also unbelievable that some managers don't even understand that they are so bad. One day I was talking with this chief of training in one of these companies I was working, that everything was a little bad. And he was telling me, if people want to leave the company, I'm sorry, but okay, it's their decision, And he was not understanding that people is not leaving because of his own decisions, because it was your decision, because you are making the environment so toxic that people has to leave. So you are basically deciding the destiny of not just the pilot, cabin crew, everybody, employer, but also their own family, because when a person moves to a country, to another place, there are also, the family has to move, and we don't have kids, but also, if you have kids, looking for school, it's not easy, of course. And most of the time, it's just because you have idiot in the wrong, what is idiot? Yeah. But okay, it's not my fault. And in the wrong position. Most often than sounds, and that's, again, that's how life is. It's incredible, and there's nothing apparent in the real sometimes, but navigating in this bad management, in these situations, change, move. So of course at the end you have accumulated a lot of experience, a lot of also good story, a lot of fun story, a lot of incredible people. In any way, like that captain who I was flying on the 321, making a captain, Some of my colleagues know the story, And he was asking what is Ivan, because abroad I'm Ivan, Here is Ivan, but abroad they call me Ivan. So Ivan, this is a 321. Yes, it's a 321. But is it bigger than a 320? A captain that asks you this question, you say, well, this is a candid camera, it's a show. And I was like, no, it's not big, it's just a little bit longer. I was thinking, okay, yeah, now I get it. Now you get it. Now. You as a pilot, yes, as a running crew, you meet this kind of people, and how is it possible that somebody gives you an aircraft because I don't even want to give you my bicycle? And you are flying an aircraft, you are the captain of this aircraft, really. But you won't believe, or maybe you do, and there are this kind of situation, and you encounter this kind of situation. Like another incredible person, but he was a very excellent pilot, by the way. I won't tell you too much already, but anyway, in the second book there is a chapter. The title is An Exorcist in Saipan. You might wonder why in an aviation book there is an exorcist. I met an exorcist, and I went for exorcism And I tell you the story. It's the most incredible day of my life, most probably, where things happened and I couldn't even believe it. And a day that really changed also my attitude towards some kind of eerie situations that I never believed. I still don't believe, but you never know. Anyway, you need to read the chapter. I don't want to tell you. I need to tell you that anyway. When you travel, you change, you meet people, and that's, I think, is also the best part of traveling and cities. Anyway, I'll tell you, at some point, of course, a lot of things happened. We wanted to leave Asia, even because you might have heard in Hong Kong, at some point there were a lot of the umbrella movement from Hong Kong. There was a lot of clashes with the police because of some kind of problem in China. And Hong Kong started to get a little bit dangerous to live. So sometimes we just walk in on the street and there was stones flying in the sky, the police charging on the other side, the gas, things. Anyway, that plus other problem with the guess who managers, we decided to leave anyway and go back to Europe to start another chapter of our life, most probably another book of my life, and so that I can write the third book, make a trilogy, and then make also a movie, hopefully like Star Wars. I need to call Tom to ask. But for that story, of course, we need to wait a little bit because I still need to write it, first of all, and it's all in my mind. But most probably in the future, hopefully, there's going to be another book, we will see, about what happened after that. Because, as you remember, unfortunately too well, COVID hit the world and the world of aviation. And COVID was actually in aviation the event that the managers were just waiting for. They were so happy because finally they could do whatever they wanted. Despite the rules, the law, regulations, they fire people, they change contracts, And I'm not afraid to say, all the government, the authority, in aviation, they did nothing, They could do something because all of that stuff is illegal. And of course, some court changed some stuff. Luckily, some pilots get the job back in some of the lines that were fired. Contracts have been fixed. Some places, but that was most probably the worst page of aviation ever, not just because aviation stopped flying, but by the way, the management of the aviation in the world reacted in that call. Something that as soon as it happened, who has a little bit of experience in aviation, immediately say, as soon as the aviation starts again, you will see a disaster because there's not going to be pilots anymore, there's not going to be cabin crew anymore, there's not going to be more ground people anymore, and exactly happened. And then you have meeting with managers who tell you, we didn't expect that to happen. Really? Really? And I have to tell you that maybe I should do your job, As one guy, when they told me, maybe why don't you come to our office to tell you what to do? And I said, there's no need because I already told you last year and you haven't done it after 1 year. Again, one of the company worked for tell you which one. And still, in fact, I don't know what happened. Might actually. And so, in conclusion of this talk, I hope you will enjoy reading. I hope you will, immedesimating me, but me meaning all the pilots around the world that have this kind of experience, this kind of feelings, this kind of emotions. I promise with this book, I'm gonna make you cry, I'm gonna make you laugh, I'm gonna make you think, I'm gonna make you ponder. I'm gonna make you a lot of things, okay? And of course, I hope you will enjoy reading these books and a part of story. So the first book, the first one, from the ruins of Alitalia to the desert of Qatar. So the first is just the story in Alitalia, my flight with the MD-80, and then what happens there, all the problems of the union. By the way, the long-term strategy of our union is still, God knows what happens. And then the second one, from low-cost airlines to conquering the East. Did I conquer the East? who knows? You need to discover yourself. But I tell you, what's the point? It's not the spoilers. Too many spoilers anyway today, but it's always difficult to talk about the book without telling you about the book. You know? Anyway, of course, now, any questions, anything, any more experience you have, any curiosity you want to ask? We can do a very nice CRM experience now. Exercise. Okay? And yeah, please. Of course. Larissa.
No, I have things. I changed my mind. Did you have any experience writing before starting an actual book? Like, did you have a blog or did you do something about it?
Thank you for asking. Actually, no. That is the most amazing thing that I told you. You understand, you discover yourself. I never thought in my life I could be able to write a book. In fact, the first book didn't start as a book. It started as a few notes I was writing for myself in Qatar, in my apartment, in my depression, not to forget what happened in Alitalia, for all the things happened there, you know. And then after some time, I found out I have a lot of pages already written, you know. And then I realized, oh, maybe it can be something interesting to be published, maybe, you know. And I gave these few notes to some of my friends that were there with me, and I told them, but please be honest, I don't want to waste my time, just because you're a friend, you have to tell me it's good. If it's not, I'm just a pilot, I keep doing the pilot, it's okay. Instead, they were quite happy because they told me, no, it's a very different point of view. It's an internal point of view of what happens in Alitalia from who lived the experience from inside. Because there's a lot of book about Alitalia, the financial problems, you know, the political problems, but nobody ever written a story about what's the people who love the job, you know. And then they also told me, and now you are also there in Qatar, imagine how many things is going to happen here, that you can keep writing. And I thought, wow, that's an excellent idea. I wasn't thinking about that, you know. And that's what happened. So I keep writing, and in the 3 years that I was in Qatar, from time to time something happened, and okay, that's might be interesting. And I put it down, and I put it down, I put it down, and when I left Qatar, I was in London, I wrote the last chapter, and then I said, wow, now I have a book actually. Some part has been, of course, then edited, removed, changed. And that was my first and last book, because I never thought I could write a book. I did one, I said, okay, now that's it, you know, because I'm in London, normal life. Instead, I didn't know, because life is always surprising. A million other things that were waiting for me on the other side of the world, and not all. Of course, the second book instead started now at some point. Actually, at some point, I wanted to write more because I wanted to tell stories about aviation. How is our life? How is our job? I didn't have enough material yet, and I wrote another book that is not here, but you can find online. That one is only in Italian, hasn't been translated yet. Il destino degli altri. That is a crime story. I wrote also a crime story. Yeah. There's a crime is committed during the flight. And of course there's an investigation, lots of action, suspense, stereotypes around the world, motorbike chasing, a lot of stuff. And I challenge myself in writing a crime story. Because, you know, a biography, at least the story, you know it, is there. You just need to write that. The crime story, you really need to think about it. Maria, one day watching TV, she told, why don't you write a crime story? Come on, really, I don't even know how to even start. You know? And then afterwards, you know what, challenge accepted. I'm gonna do it, you know. So I studied a few months how to do it, and we start to get some ideas, and I put it down. And of course, I have to say, people like it. I have a lot of nice reviews on Amazon, on that book. I mean, of course, not maybe the best crime story yet. It's my first crime story. It has been appreciated, and that's enough for me. And then later, when more things happen, I said, okay, now I'm ready for my second book. And I wrote the second book, okay, now I have enough, and I developed the story that was ready when I left Hong Kong. And again, thinking of, okay, we leave Hong Kong, COVID is finished for us because it's just an Asian problem. we go back to have a normal life in Europe, and instead we found anything but normal, and that's why there is no material for hopefully next book. That's it. Yeah. And now I can write. Incredible. Now I can do it. So when people ask me, I don't know, I should write, but I don't know how to do it, just don't think about it. They just write. So that's how I do it. You don't need to think I'm a writer. I do nobody, maybe somebody, but nobody. I'm a writer, I'm gonna write a book up. Just keep writing, you will see. Page after page is gonna have 200 pages. Yeah. It is a, my God, exactly. It is a therapy because, you know, when you live a big crisis, you know, a big drama, let's say, as it was for me, we lost a job in Alitalia, you know, and writing is really like in a therapy. When you talk, you put everything that you have somewhere, you know, and you share your emotion, your feeling with other people. People who have had your own emotion, your own drama, and they can understand you better, and people who hasn't, but they still want to know. Right? And I think above all after the first one, I really felt much better to go all my life. Instead of being always attached to my past, you know, Alitalia parla, I'm not Italia parla, no. Because I work for 7 airlines now. I'm a 7X companies, you know, never and hopefully 8 and yeah, definitely it works as a therapy, definitely. It worked for me a lot for the first book. That was the most important drama of my life at that point. The other drama, small drama, it's not maybe not drama, just bad management that pushes some other places, travel, difficulties in adjusting. Anyway, then the story is there. Even because I think as much as something is bad, what is good, now it's written there, and it's gonna stay forever. You know?
And how do you feel now, really? Like all the past, to really the
Yeah, it's incredible because sometimes I forgot what I did. I say, really? I did that? Really? I wrote that? Wow, you know? And I had a sense of relief also, you know, because I had some experiences, I overcome this experience, I was able to move on. And sometimes I also feel, wow, I was good actually, you know, and I feel proud of myself, you know, because, wow, I did it, you know. Something I never think of doing, you know. I can tell you one thing for example, you know, at some point I decided to go to work for a company in Spain. I was sure I'm gonna get the job there, you know? But I had to study Spanish because they take me Spanish. Now, luckily, Italian Spanish is quite close, but honestly, when I took that decision, my knowledge of Spanish was vamos a la playa e no tengo dinero. That's it, you know? I said, yeah, it was very something in Italy, you know, yeah, I guess I'll say it. And so I can't just go to the interview and say, no tengo dinero. No, I need to say a bit more, I guess, you know? Vamos a la Barcelona, vamos a la playa. I need to say a bit more, maybe. And I started to study Spanish. I transformed my life in Spanish. My phone language, I changed it. I started to listen the news in Spanish, read books, everything was in Spanish. I watched telenovelas in Spanish, because they talk a lot. And then I went to this interview, and I did an interview in Spanish, kind of a year later, and I passed the interview in Spanish. I think, really, you know? Then, of course, I didn't accept the job because the contract was ridiculous, but that's, yeah. That was funny. That was another, I know there are a lot of best days of my life. That's good when you have a lot of best days of my life. That was one of my best days of my life because it's very rare you go for an interview and you set up the minimum for the job, you know? Because I want a certain kind of things, you know? Above all the upgrade because I was 204, you know? I said, no, it's not gonna happen. Okay, thank you. And the chief pilot was this, okay, Ivan, anyway, good job. If you still want a job, just send me an email and let me know. And before leaving, no. If you change your mind, let me know. Then I'm coming to work for you. Thank you very much. I said, wow, you know, because, you know, when you go for an interview, usually you want a job, you have been desperate, you know? And I left and I was, wow, okay, cool. And then I didn't accept the job, but I was still so happy. But then, can you believe, in less than a year, I learned the language. You know, so fluent, I was fluent like crazy. You know? Showing that if I can do it, that I'm not a genius, everybody can do it, you know? That's the idea, you know? Learning a language, or learning a skill, or moving to another place, you know? Some friends sometimes ask me, you know, people who have never left Italy, you know, or even Rome, you know, how can you go to Hong Kong and find an apartment? Wow, that's very difficult. You know what you need to do, you know? You go to an agency and say, I need an apartment, and they have here, you know, it's like you go here and there, it's the same. You know? Of course, you need to speak English, I guess, you know, obviously, but you do it, you know? Of course, things are different, obviously it's a bit different, but the concept is that one, and if you want to do it, you do it, you know? Of course, sometimes as she said, you know, when you read your book, you know, when I think of myself in 2008, 2007, I would like to talk to me, you know, in my 2007 year, you know, and say, you know, Ivan, you're gonna go to Taiwan and Hong Kong, and the young Ivan is gonna tell to you, Ivan, you are crazy, it's never gonna happen, you know, because it's impossible, you know. Yeah, it's like that, you know, and who knows, you know, everybody's life is gonna be, you know, in the future. But challenge yourself, that's the message, you know. It's scary, of course, every change is scary, you know. You know, in Italy we say something like, if you change a road, the old road, help me please, the old road for the new road, you know what you leave, but you don't know what you're gonna discover. So, to leave the unknown, no, to leave the known for the unknown, obviously it's a bit scary, you know? But if you don't do it, you never know what's on the other side, and maybe you can find something better. And it happened to me many times actually. That's why now, I tell you, the day I lost the job in Alitalia, that was the biggest drama of my life, now is the best things happened to me. You know? Because I was capable to transform a drama in an incredible opportunity for my life. And profession, from a human point of view, and profession as well, that I would have lost otherwise, you know? Of course, the day I lost the job, I wasn't like, yay, now I'm gonna have the best thing of my life. No, of course. I was crying like a baby. But to tell you, when things bad happened, what I mean, yeah, feel bad for a few hours, definitely, you are entitled to cry, good. But don't be too desperate. You never know. You know what we say, no? When the door closes, the big gate is going to open, you know? It's something, of course, there's nothing happen for nothing. You need to work hard and you need to have some, you know, motivation, lots of motivation. That's very, very important. I'm lucky. And see, when people say, you are lucky, you know, because things happen, you know, sometimes not luck, it's that you work hard. But myself, I have to say, I'm lucky in the sense that I always had a lot of motivation inside me, it's like a natural, you know? In anything I've done in my life, you know, I did a lot of sport, there was another, you don't believe it, there was another before, and so to train a lot, you know, you have to have a lot of motivation, of course, you know? And somehow, I'm lucky because somehow I'm a self-motivated person, you know? But if you're not, ask other people, you know, ask for, not for help, ask for suggestions, ask for, how would you do it, how did you do it, you know? And maybe everybody can find his own way, because what worked for me maybe doesn't work for you, but you can find something. And it's beautiful when you can actually achieve that things, move on with your life, and then you can maybe write the book of the story, and then read back, wow, I think the things I've done. It's good. What else? Something else? Please. Easy question. Oh, huh? Okay, yeah, so thank you very much. I was really, really happy to have so many people here today and lots of people online following on the socials. You are a very social person now. Follow me on YouTube. I take this opportunity to remind you. I have an English and an Italian channel on YouTube where I talk a lot. And You can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, everywhere. No, I'm not on TikTok. That's too much. No, don't ask me that. No, I don't do that. That doesn't work. No, it's not.
E si trovato per i OnlyFans.
Okay, maybe. And I hope everybody also online to see you on board soon. It's not from time to time, some passages they don't ask me, you won't believe it, you know. And aren't you that pilot told me to? Oh, yeah, it's me.
It's on my flight.
Oh, yeah, very good, remember. Yeah, it's incredible, you know. Sometimes I receive you know, the most beautiful things that happened to me recently is when I receive a message on Facebook from passengers after a 3 hours delay. Remember, we had that flight together from Tel Aviv, you know.
It was amazing.
Never delay.
Yeah, we had unfortunately, we were almost taking off.
One insane.
Exactly, yeah.
For which you blame your traffic controllers, I know. I know that.
Always a traffic control is there. And so, you know, we were almost taking off. I was there with my hand on the throttle, I'm gonna take off, and then the senior called me, no, stop. There's a passenger, she's crazy, she's shot. Okay, so anyway, so we had to go back to the stand. She had a panic attack, unfortunately, and we had to offload this lady. And of course, it takes 2 hours, 3 hours, a lot, because before you can rearrange the flight and go back, you know. And the day after, I got a message on Facebook, dear Captain, yesterday I was on your flight. I said, oh my God, no, this guy. Oh, thank you very much. What? Thank you very much. Despite the delay, I saw that your crew was excellent. You know, they managed that situation very nicely. I said, so thank you very much to take us back home. I said, wow. Now, when these things happen, of course, it's wonderful because you feel that you have done the good job, that your crew did a good job.
The first officer, mainly.
The first officer did an incredible job that day. I guess the first officer saved the day. Yeah, I was there, but just to sign. I was just for legality. But otherwise I wasn't. And that also means that the cabin crew also did an amazing job. And of course, I'm now flying with the best cabin crew in the world. I have to say. And I wanted to hear all of them.
We are modest.
But I'm lucky. I've flown with a lot of amazing crew in my life. Not all of them, of course, because one day I was also another funny story before we left. I don't say the airline, of course, because it's really bad. This senior, so imagine, not just any cabin crew, entering the cockpit. It was very, very hot in the cockpit, you know. And then she said, wow, it's so hot here in the cockpit. And just to say the most stupid things is happening, that morning, I said, yeah, you know, I didn't open the window to change the air, you know. And there was no reaction from her, you know. So I look at her and say, I just said I didn't open the window to change the air. And then she said, yes, Captain, you work here, you do whatever you want here. Really? At 35,000 feet, I open the window. Yeah, unfortunately, as I was telling you, there are also captain weirdo, there are also cabin crew weirdo, it's normal, I guess, everybody likes. And, but it's okay, that's part of the game when you travel and you live in multicultural environments. And it's experiences. Yeah. Anyway, again, thanks again before I start to talk again for another hour, stop me. Okay? And thank you again everybody, also online, and see you on board everywhere in social, and enjoy reading Bibles.
Bravo!